let's talk to you down in Wheelersburg. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well.
Good. I guess my question deals more with health care, concerning with an aging population. You know, health care and Medicare are becoming, I don't know, needed because, you know, the population is living longer. But I guess my question is, why is it that Washington excludes themselves from participating in what the American people who have worked and supported this country are forced to partake in?
Well, Angie, first of all, let me ask you, where do you get that information? Who told you that? Angie, are you there?
I'm here.
Who told you?
I get several newsletters, and it just seems most of the congressmen and the president and, you know, everybody, they don't.
Well, Angie,
you don't. I'm sorry, you don't pay into Social Security.
No, ma'am, that is absolutely not true. That is absolutely not
true.
No, ma'am, it is not true. I will be glad to show you my pay stub. I pay into Social Security and Medicare just like you and every other hardworking American does. It really frustrates me when people put out stuff over the internet and they package it up in a fancy title and they make it look official, and they mislead the American people to try and start a partisan political war and divide us as a nation. But Angie, here's what I'm going to ask you to do. If you will call back in and leave us your number, and I'll do this for you, and I'll do it for anybody else on this call that wants to see it.
Okay.
I'll be glad to send you a copy of my pay stub so that you can see that I'm telling you the truth, because I have nothing to hide. The health care that I received, first of all, I didn't even take the government's health care. I opted out of it. I served 26 and a half years in the United States Air Force, and I earned the same health care that all other veterans that serve this nation earned. I don't think it's fair to ask the American people, you or anybody else, to pay for another health care plan for my family and me. I'm perfectly satisfied with being like all the other veterans across America. So, as for me,
there is so much misleading information out there, and I do attribute a lot of that to the internet, and it's hard. And you're right, there is a lot of bipartisan, and you really don't know what to believe. And here, you know, we're middle-class working people just trying to stay afloat, you know, with a family. And health care is very expensive, and I have older parents that are on, you know, Medicare. And
let me tell you something, Angie. I have an 80-year-old mother. And you know what she says to me? She says, Bill, tell me that you're not going to let them take away my Medicare. And Angie, I can tell you that there is no way that I will watch current seniors see their Medicare benefits taken out from under them. And I'm fighting every single day to make sure that that happens. Because, see, the president's plan, Angie, is to let this system go bankrupt. His own actuaries, the people that run the Medicare program, have told the president this program is going bankrupt by 2024 if we don't do something. And the only way to make sure that your parents and my mother and the millions of Americans that are 55 years of age and older who can't roll back the clock and reinvest their money to provide for their retirement and health care today, that they receive their fully funded benefits, we got to do something to make sure that that happens. And that's the plan that I support. So you're probably going to hear a lot of things over the internet, probably over the TV and other places. I will tell you that I'm trying to hurt Medicare. I'll be glad to.
We have a very liberal media. We have a very liberal media, and you have to be very careful about but I had just seen that, and heard that several times. And like I said, with older parents, it is a concern.
Well, absolutely it is, and it's a very valid question, and I appreciate you asking the question, because it always gives me an opportunity to clear the air and make sure that everybody, particularly on this call, because you're people that I represent, I want you to know the truth, because you deserve the truth. And the truth is, I pay into Social Security and Medicare just like every other American in this country does. I think I should. I don't have any problem doing that. I would never vote to exempt myself from doing that. Angie, thanks a lot for your question. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
You bet. Hey, folks, let me ask you a question one final time here. This week, I'll be voting to extend the 2001 and 2003 era tax cuts that cut the tax rates for all Americans. It cuts the death tax, it cuts the taxes on investments, and it doubles the child tax credit. Do you support extending these tax cuts? Press 1 for yes on your keypad, press 2 for no. That'll give me an idea of how you folks feel about extending the 2001 to 2003 tax cuts. Again, if you'd like to ask a question, press 0. I'll put you in the question queue. This is Congressman Bill Johnson. I'm really glad that you joined our call this evening. We're having a very lively discussion. John, down in Martins Ferry, how you doing, buddy?
Okay, I guess. Well, the question was, like, the steel mills in the valley right now are are getting ready to sell them for margin bill. And from what I understand, what you said today, two people, companies that was interested, one of them was a company that pretty much was going to tear it down, take the dough out of it. You plan on, anything the government can do to see if they can reopen those some way?
Well, the government doesn't own those plants, John, and you don't want the government owning those plants. It's not the government's role, nor do we want the government to intrude any further into the private sector. What we want the federal government to do is to level the playing field so that businesses can grow and expand and hire. We are sitting on top of, here in eastern and southeastern Ohio, what many experts say is the largest deposit of natural gas and oil in the world. Did you hear what I said? In the world. That is a big resource. And we're seeing companies like Chesapeake building a nearly $1 billion facility in Columbiana County. Mark West building a $500 million facility in Harrison County. Halliburton building a several $100 million facility in Muskingum County. We are seeing the need for manufacturing returning to eastern and southeastern Ohio, and it is going to require steel manufacturing. Steel is required in the manufacturing of the components to go after this natural gas resource, and if we can simply keep the federal government from overreaching with its regulatory arm to the EPA and the Department of the Interior and others, then we can see companies being willing to come in and buy those steel plants and put them back in operation. I don't know if you heard my comments a little earlier. One of the biggest impediments, John, to anybody coming in and buying those steel plants is the uncertainty that is being created by the regulatory overreach and the massive tax burden that rests on the back of the American people. And now you've got the problem with the health care law that the administration and the Supreme Court has said is constitutional. So now we've got the increased taxes on businesses for the health care law and the increase in health care costs that are going to result. That's going to make it even more difficult for them to grow and hire and expand their companies. We need regulatory incentivize